really excited today to be talking to this person and really to be kind of teeing up this subject. So we have Defi Danny, who Danny is going to be doing for Land Trust Title Services, our next kind of educational opportunity for all of our Chicagoland agents. And the topic is going to be on the blockchain and its effects on the real estate industry. And we're going to touch on a little bit on crypto and things like that. And so we're not going to get into that subject right now, although we're going to kind of wet everyone's whistle on it. But first, I want to introduce Danny. And I just want to, say, Danny, thank you for being here. I know you've done a lot of research on this. You've been involved in the crypto and blockchain space since 2017, which seems like, I don't know if that's when it was invented, but I know it isn't. But, so you were thinking about it long before other people were. You've written several publications on the topic, one of which we're going to be getting to everyone who attends our session, which is going to be a virtual session. And so, Danny, we're happy to have you, and thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
It's going to be fun.
So, Danny, you have an interesting career. And so why don't we just talk about just how you started your professional career and then, kind of your journey to what really intrigued you about, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and just that genre.
Yeah, it's a long and sort of winding story, but I'll give you the cliff notes.
Sure.
I joined the military straight out of high school. I went into an officer training program for the Marine Corps and ended up actually going to college while I was doing that program. So once I graduated and got commissioned and passed through all of the required training, I became a Marine Corps officer and started my military career. So
thank you, by the way.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it was a fun experience. I got to live a lot of cool places and do a lot of cool things with some awesome humans, some of the best people I've ever worked with. It was fun. I was an aircraft maintenance officer, so it was very high stress, sort of managing squadrons of helicopters and then drones for the last couple of years.
Making sure no one dies, right?
Yeah, it's making sure we had the birds, the aircraft required to fly the daily mission. So that was a constant helmet fire, essentially. Just everything's an emergency, very technical sort of engineering environment that I didn't have a background in. I didn't have a liberal arts degree. Bounced around majors a lot in college and ended up with a history degree with minors in philosophy and naval science. So
wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Not exactly practical in the corporate world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was enough for me to earn a commission as an officer. You have to have a degree. So I left the Marine Corps after 5 years as a captain in early 2018 and transitioned into another field I wasn't really qualified for, which was engineering software sales. So B2B enterprise sales. We got to work with enterprise level companies all the way down to startups. But it was basically selling physics software to rocket scientists. And again,
wow.
not an engineer, not a technical person. So there's been this constant trend of having to simplify complexity. So crypto has kind of tied pretty easily into that narrative, right? Even when
when you were selling that software, did you ever use the line, "This isn't rocket science"? And they actually said it actually is.
No, man. I didn't want to get chased out with pitchforks. I'm all about the dad jokes, but you can only push it so far. No, I kind of got into crypto. I've been a real estate investor, my background. I've been a real estate and crypto investor since 2016, 2017 timeframe. I got interested in crypto when I was still in the military and then dove headfirst into it really once I got out in 2018 after the markets kind of crashed, because there were just so many interesting things happening. And I wanted to figure out, is this still a viable investment sort of route to take? Personally, is the technology something that's actually going to impact the future? I needed to know more. And the more I dug, the more I learned, and the more I was convinced this was sort of the next evolutionary phase of internet network technology. So yeah, I've been a Marine officer. I've been a sort of high level enterprise software salesperson, and I left that career about a year and a half ago to pursue my own thing. I had made enough good investments and funneled enough of my money into those investments that I didn't really need to be working the super stressful job anymore. And I decided to give it a go on my own. Started posting content online, specifically on Twitter, educational content around blockchain, around crypto, trying to demystify it, because there's so many stigmas and false narratives about crypto out there, right? Yes, it's a very volatile environment. Yes, there can be more risk than other asset classes. But fundamentally, like our media, a lot of influencers and thought leaders online have no idea what crypto is, and they make assumptions and they spew kind of bad intelligence. So I like to focus on helping people understand the fundamental technology behind blockchain. And it's what I do. It's what I do every day. I'm just simplifying things for people. So making light bulb moments, helping make things click. So I'm excited to, on this call, we'll talk about, not this one, but in the webinar, we're going to talk about blockchain and just give like a very basic, I have 3 really good, simple analogies I like to use to make blockchain make sense. And from there, sky's the limit, right? We can talk about how it's going to impact real estate in the future. There's a lot of things that are, tentative at this point due to regulatory concerns, and just the technology adoption curve is always, it takes a while for things to come in, but I'm pretty optimistic personally, just having been ear to the ground on this stuff for the last 5 years or so. But that's me in a nutshell. I mean,
that's awesome. You know, Danny, one of the reasons I was excited about connecting with you is because I signed up for one of the books you wrote, and as I read it, I was like, man, this, I'm not a crypto guy, and I'm not a blockchain guy in the sense of I do understand some of the elements of it. I've of course heard of Bitcoin and the various different things that are happening there. But when I read your publication, it really simplified things for me and helped me to understand. And it gave me some tools to be able to speak to a marketplace that is constantly talking about it and really doesn't know what to think about it. And so I feel like I'm equipped and now smarter than the average bear when it comes to these topics. And that, most of the time, if you can answer people's questions about other things, you might be able to have an edge when they're coming to sell their home or buy their home or looking for real estate investment advice or whatever it is. And so that's my hope is that our discussion that we're going to have is going to empower agents to be able to answer questions like, can I buy a house with cryptocurrency? And what is, and some of these fractional investment opportunities in real estate that are kind of, on the fringe right now. But, there were several things that were fringe in 2017 that are now like completely accepted in that cryptocurrency space. Like for instance, how many coins were there in 2017? I mean,
2017, that was when things kind of took off, right? That's when people really started creating tokens on the Ethereum network. So I don't know, man, probably 11,000. Now there's over 21,000 now. Okay,
so it's doubled, right? And I think and Bitcoin, I mean, when Bitcoin started, right, where was it at? I know it's down right now and people look at it, but from the standpoint,
are we talking price wise? Yeah. So the first time I ever heard about Bitcoin was in 2012, or the first time I had actually like had a discussion about it.
Sure.
Right? You always hear about it, you're like, oh, that's a weird fringe internet, techie thing, or nerds are talking about it. Not interested. I heard about it in 2012 when a college roommate, I was a junior in college. And my roommate was trying to show me on it. We were drinking beers and he was like, all right, man, you got to buy some Bitcoin. I just bought $300 worth. I got 3 of them because it was $100 at the time, to answer your question.
Wow.
And at the time, I didn't see the value proposition. Like I hadn't dug in enough to understand where things could go. And also like Ethereum wasn't around yet. Smart contracts weren't a thing. And we'll get into smart contracts on the call. But for me, it was like, okay, why would merchants need to use this for any, like, there's no purpose behind it. Like, it's not going to get adoption. And that was it. That was the whole conversation to me, was like, it's not going to gain merchant adoption. So why bother investing? It's not going anywhere. And obviously that was many tens of thousands of percentage points from where it is now.
Yes.
So I messed up. I didn't revisit it until 2017,
Okay.
5 years later. And at that point it was probably $12,000 per Bitcoin.
Wow. And did your buddy hold on to his $300 worth?
Nobody held on, man.
No one held on.
There's a couple of like ideological freaks that have just
Yeah.
held through all the years, but those guys are, you're talking the very few and far between. My
And
buddy
they might not be able to find out how to access it, right?
a lot of them, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of instances of they just held for so long they can't remember their passwords and they're screwed.
Yeah.
No, my buddy had a 5X and turned his $300 into 1,500, and he paid the bar tab for a few weeks, and we all loved it.
That's great.
we had no problems with it.
Well, Danny, we don't want to do the meeting before the meeting, but I would like to ask, so what do you do now for people in terms of, I know people pay you for your expertise. What do you do now, and how do you spend your time leveraging your knowledge for the good of the community of people that are interested?
Yeah, I basically have three primary routes that I focus on, my three priorities, and that's creating as much educational content as possible to help beginners kind of cross that moat that surrounds crypto right now. There's just so much technical jargon, so many buzzwords. It's not very beginner friendly. So when you go and look into crypto for the first time, it's nonsensical, right? Or you open the door to crypto Twitter and see a bunch of like screeching animals, and you quickly close that door and walk away and call it a scam. So that's number one, is I put out a lot of free educational content trying to help beginners, building bridges to help people cross that moat. And then I have two other sort of paid coaching type things that I do for my clients. So I do group coaching cohorts where I bring in 8 to 10 people, and it's a 6-week period where you do one call a week, and we go over a specific learning curriculum to get them from zero to comfortable in cryptocurrency, covering a slew of topics. And I think it's a pretty cool, unique learning environment. I don't know if you've ever been part of like a cohort learning or on maven.com or that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I just manage the process myself. I don't use a platform like that, but it's a pretty cool way to learn nowadays. I think education is kind of changing, and I've been leaning into that. Yeah. And then I have finally a one-on-one coaching offer, and that's more for the I don't want to say sophisticated investor, but more like if you're a value or growth investor that wants to funnel a good amount of money into crypto, it makes sense to have someone to basically hold your hand through the process and show you exactly like, hey, here's how the tech works. Here's why it's a good potential investment, right? And then the actual button clicks, getting through wallet errors, avoiding expensive mistakes, that kind of stuff. And that's generally if people have, 5 figures that they want to funnel into crypto over a short period, it makes sense to work with someone like me. So those are the 3 ways that I try to continuously push value out into the world.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all that in our notes, Danny, how people can get a hold of you and in touch with you. But we're excited about having the session. The registration for the session will also be in our notes, and we look forward to having you. So our session is going to be December 6th at 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll have the registration link. And the topics are going to include basically an introduction to the blockchain technology, exploration of current and future applications for real estate, including on-chain title records, smart contracts for automation of lease, purchase, and sale, tokenized fractional property ownership, and more. And we'll have a Q&A session. So if your client, if agents' clients have questions that have been burning in people's minds, they'll have an opportunity. And if there's people on there that are potential people that are excited about cryptocurrency and all that, and they have the various questions, we'll take that as far as we need to go, and then you can work with them offline as well if that's something that is going to work out. So
yeah, perfect. And it's exactly like you said, Steve. I think in this new world that we're living in, and the future of this technology, it pays to be a sort of trusted advisor for your clients, right? If I'm a real estate agent and if my clients are asking about all of this new stuff, I'm going to feel a little uncomfortable if I don't at least know what's going on. So you don't have to be an expert, but I think it pays to just kind of understand all of this new stuff that is, I think, going to affect the industry in a big, big way. in the coming years. So
I agree with you. And yeah, from a title insurance standpoint, I know that the blockchain is going to be a reliable way to transfer title. And, you know, it's just a matter of when, it's not a matter of if. I think that is, you know, that's what I'm seeing. So, well, thanks, Danny. We look forward to having you, and, you know, have a great rest of your day today, and we'll see you on December 6th.
You too, Steve. Can't wait.
Take care. Bye.